Have you ever felt that sudden blur when driving at night, when the streetlights turn into starbursts and your eyes struggle to adjust? Or walked into a room only to pause and wonder what you came for? For so many older adults, these moments feel small at first, but slowly they chip away at confidence, independence, and joy. What if I told you that while you sleep, your body already holds the power to repair much of this decline, if only it's given the right fuel? Not a pill, not an expensive therapy, but something as humble as the dried fruits in your kitchen. I'm Dr. Brian, and welcome to Channel Ageless Garden. Together we'll uncover how three simple foods, figs, raisins, and dates, can support sharper memory, calmer nights, and clearer vision, all while you rest. Stay with me, because tonight's bedtime ritual could change your tomorrow. When I think of figs, I'm reminded of my grandmother's small garden. She had one proud fig tree that seemed almost ordinary until she would pluck a ripe fruit and tell me, "This is nature's secret medicine." At the time, I thought it was just a sweet treat. But years later, as a physician, I came to understand what she meant. Figs hold inside them a kind of hidden shield, one that protects both the eyes and the brain. Let's start with vision. Inside every dried fig are pigments called lutein and zeaxanthin. Now, those sound complicated, but think of them as your eye's internal sunglasses. Just as a good pair of shades protects your eyes from the harsh glare of the sun, lutein and zeaxanthin filter out harmful light and protect the delicate center of the retina called the macula. Without this shield, the retina grows more vulnerable with age, and suddenly fine print is harder to read, nighttime driving feels dangerous, and faces blur in low light. But when these compounds are present in the diet, they gather like tiny guards in the back of the eye, absorbing harmful wavelengths and neutralizing unstable molecules before they can cause damage. But figs don't stop at eyesight. They also serve the brain in a very special way. Inside each fig is vitamin B6, a nutrient that may seem small but plays a major role in how your brain actually communicates with itself. You can think of vitamin B6 as the electrician of your nervous system. Without enough of it, the brain struggles to maintain smooth connections, like a house where the wiring is frayed and the lights flicker. B6 helps build neurotransmitters like dopamine, serotonin, and GABA, the very messengers responsible for memory, mood, and restful sleep. Without them, thinking grows cloudy, emotions become less stable, and the sleep cycle begins to wobble. Figs also deliver powerful plant compounds known as polyphenols, particularly quercetin and anthocyanins. To avoid medical jargon, let's use an image. Imagine your brain as a busy city. Over time, traffic jams and pollution clog the roads, slowing down progress. These polyphenols act like a citywide cleaning crew, reducing the inflammation that creates gridlock in your memory pathways. In fact, one study published in Frontiers in Aging Neuroscience in 2021 found that older adults who ate more polyphenol-rich fruits had greater volume in the hippocampus, the very part of the brain that organizes memory, and faster reaction times on cognitive tests. But perhaps the most fascinating role figs play happens while you're asleep. The brain has a unique system called the glymphatic system, which is like an overnight janitor sweeping out waste and toxins. This system is most active when we're deeply asleep, but it requires energy to do its job. Figs, with their natural glucose, provide just enough gentle fuel for this cleanup process, like leaving a lamp on so the night crew can see what they're doing. And when waste is cleared, the brain wakes up lighter, sharper, and more refreshed. The benefits don't stop there. Figs also provide prebiotic fiber, which feeds the healthy bacteria in the gut. This might seem unrelated to your memory or eyesight, but science has shown otherwise. The gut and brain are deeply connected, constantly sending messages back and forth. When the gut microbiome is healthy, it produces short-chain fatty acids, tiny molecules that improve not only digestion, but also mental clarity and even visual processing. In other words, when you feed your gut with something like figs, you are also nourishing your mind and your eyes. Let me share a story. Carol, a 67-year-old former librarian, came to me after she noticed she was struggling more with reading at night. She found herself needing brighter lamps, and she admitted she was forgetting small details at work, like whether she had checked in a book or not. She was worried, not just about her eyes, but about her memory. Instead of rushing to medications, I suggested she add 2 soaked figs to her nightly routine. Simple, natural, no pressure. A month later, she told me her eyes felt less strained when reading, and she had fewer of those frustrating lapses in short-term memory. Was it a miracle cure? No. But it was her body responding to the steady nourishment figs provide. The beauty of figs is that they aren't exotic or rare. They are humble, affordable, and often overlooked. Yet inside them is a symphony of nutrients designed to protect your most precious faculties, your vision and your memory. When you eat a fig, you're not just enjoying a sweet bite. You're sending quiet reinforcements to your brain and eyes, telling them, you still matter, you're still cared for, and healing is possible. Raisins may seem unremarkable, just little wrinkled grapes, but don't let their small size fool you. They are proof that sometimes the greatest strength comes in the smallest packages. When I talk with my patients about how to improve eyesight naturally or how to protect their memory, many expect me to suggest something exotic or rare. But I often point them instead to raisins, because inside those tiny fruits lies a remarkable blend of compounds that can slow the clock on aging eyes and brains. At the core of raisins' power are antioxidants, especially polyphenols like flavonoids and resveratrol. You might have heard resveratrol linked to red wine, but it's also concentrated in raisins. To understand why this matters, imagine your brain and eyes as a finely tuned orchestra. Over time, tiny sparks of oxidative stress are like musicians playing out of sync, slowly turning harmony into noise. Resveratrol acts like a skilled conductor, calming the chaos, reducing inflammation, and keeping the entire performance steady. This isn't just theory. A 2020 study in the journal Nutrients found that older adults who consume raisins regularly had higher antioxidant capacity in their blood and lower markers of inflammation, both crucial in slowing conditions like age-related macular degeneration and memory decline. But raisins aren't just about antioxidants. They contain a trace mineral called boron. Few people talk about boron, yet it plays a subtle but vital role in how the brain processes information. Think of it as the grease on the hinges of a door. Without it, the door may still open, but it creaks, slows, and sometimes sticks. In the same way, low boron levels are linked to slower reaction times, weaker coordination, and foggy short-term memory. Adding raisins to your diet to improve eyesight and memory is like adding a touch of oil to keep the hinges swinging smoothly. Then there's iron, another quiet hero inside raisins. Iron carries oxygen through the blood, and oxygen is the currency of repair. Every night when you sleep, your body attempts to deliver oxygen-rich blood to the optic nerves and brain cells so they can repair themselves. But if iron levels are too low, even slightly, the body can't deliver enough fuel to these tissues. That's why people with mild anemia often feel mentally sluggish and report visual fatigue. A handful of raisins, with their natural iron, can help keep that oxygen pipeline flowing, ensuring that your brain and eyes have what they need to restore themselves overnight. What makes raisins special for sleep and nighttime repair is also their gentle glucose. Unlike processed sugar, which surges and crashes, the natural sugars in raisins are cushioned by fiber, allowing for a slow, steady release of energy. This is exactly what the brain's lymphatic system, the overnight cleaning crew, needs. Think of it like fueling a janitor's flashlight. Too much power all at once, and it burns out. Too little, and the light flickers. Raisins provide just the steady glow required for the brain's cleaning team to work effectively, clearing away waste proteins linked to memory decline. I'll never forget Walter, a 73-year-old retired engineer. He used to tell me, "Doc, my mornings feel like walking through fog." He'd also noticed his peripheral vision was dimmer, like shadows were creeping in from the edges. Instead of more coffee or another pill, I suggested something surprisingly simple. Swap out his nightly cookie for a small handful of unsweetened raisins about an hour before bed. He chuckled at the idea but agreed. Within 4 weeks, he returned with a grin. His mind felt sharper in the mornings. His Sudoku times improved, and his eyes seemed less strained. He even joked that raisins had become his engineering fuel for the night shift. Raisins remind us that healing doesn't always come in flashy packages. They are compact carriers of antioxidants, boron, iron, and steady energy, all tailored to support vision and memory during the quiet hours of sleep. In a world where decline often feels inevitable, raisins whisper a different truth. Even the smallest, simplest foods can stand between you and the shadows of aging. Dates are perhaps the most underestimated of all dried fruits. To many people, they are simply a sweet indulgence, something sticky and pleasant, but maybe a little too sugary. Yet beneath that sweetness is a dense package of nutrients perfectly suited for the challenges of aging. When my patients ask about foods to boost eye health or a diet to improve eyesight, they rarely expect me to mention dates. But once they hear why, they often find themselves keeping a small jar of them by the bedside. Let's begin with sleep, because so much of memory and vision repair happens only during deep rest. Dates contain tryptophan, a natural amino acid that serves as a precursor to melatonin, your body's sleep hormone. Think of tryptophan as the quiet craftsman working late at night, carving the doorway into deeper sleep. Without enough melatonin, the brain cannot fully enter the restorative stages where memories are consolidated, waste is cleared, and cells repair. A soft medjool date before bed is not just a treat, it's an invitation to the brain to drift into healing sleep. Then comes magnesium, a mineral that modern diets often lack. Magnesium regulates the NMDA receptors in the brain. Imagine them as gates that allow signals to pass between neurons. If the gates malfunction, the brain's communication grows erratic, like a radio picking up static. Dates provide a gentle plant-based source of magnesium, smoothing out that static, helping to reduce anxiety and supporting sharper memory. Studies have linked low magnesium to cognitive decline in adults over 65, which is why replenishing it naturally becomes so important. Next is potassium, another mineral often overlooked but essential for vision. Potassium is like the wiring that keeps electricity flowing along the optic nerve, carrying images from the retina to the brain. Without enough potassium, those signals sputter, leading to eye fatigue and slower visual response. By including dates in your diet to improve eyesight, you provide the raw material for that smooth, consistent signaling. Combined with vitamin B6 also found in dates, the result is improved neurotransmitter balance, dopamine and GABA in particular, which calms the nervous system and eases nighttime eye strain. What truly sets dates apart is their dual action. They calm the mind while fueling the brain's nighttime cleanup crew. Their natural sugars, when cushioned by fiber, provide steady energy throughout the night. That energy powers the glymphatic system, which sweeps away beta-amyloid proteins and other debris linked to memory loss. In 2022, a review published in Nutrients highlighted how date fruit extracts reduce neuronal cell death and improve spatial memory in aged rodents. While human trials are still catching up, the evidence suggests that dates carry strong neuroprotective and anti-inflammatory effects, making them a legitimate eyesight improvement food as well as a brain booster. Linda, a 70-year-old widow, came to me with two complaints: restless nights and anxious mornings. She often woke up disoriented, her memory patchy, her mood unsettled. Instead of prescribing another sleep aid, I encouraged her to try something gentle. 2 soft dates, I said, about 45 minutes before bed. She hesitated, worried about the sugar, but agreed. A month later, she walked into my office with tears in her eyes, though this time they were tears of relief. "I'm sleeping deeply for the first time in years," she told me, "and in the morning, I can remember names, conversations, even where I put my keys." What changed wasn't just her rest, it was her confidence. Dates remind us that food can be both sweet and medicinal. They calm the storm of anxiety, strengthen the wires of vision, and support the nightly rebuilding project of the brain. They are not candy. They are ancient medicine wrapped in sweetness. For thousands of years, people across deserts and villages used them not just for energy, but for focus, clarity, and resilience. And for today's seniors, they remain one of the simplest, most effective foods to improve eyesight naturally, while also restoring memory and peace of mind. By now, you've seen how figs, raisins, and dates each carry their own unique gifts for the brain and eyes. But knowing about them is one thing. The real power comes when you weave them into a simple nightly rhythm, something so easy and gentle that it becomes as natural as brushing your teeth. I often tell my patients that healing isn't about grand gestures. It's about small acts repeated consistently, especially before sleep, when the body's most eager to repair. The key is timing. About 90 minutes before bed, your brain begins releasing melatonin, the hormone that signals the body to prepare for sleep. At the same time, the brain's glymphatic system starts to stir, getting ready for its overnight cleanup shift. This is the perfect window to nourish yourself with the right kind of food. Not heavy meals, not stimulants, but a quiet offering that says to your body, here's the fuel you need to restore me tonight. Here's the ritual I recommend. Begin with 2 dried figs, soaked in warm water for 6 to 8 hours. Soaking them softens their fiber and makes their antioxidants easier to absorb. These figs act as your vision protectors and neurotransmitter supporters, preparing your brain and eyes to enter the night shielded and nourished. After the figs, take a small handful of raisins, about a tablespoon. Choose unsweetened ones, free from added coatings. Their antioxidants, boron and iron will begin to circulate, reducing inflammation and ensuring oxygen reaches the places where repair is needed most. Finally, finish with 1 soft medjool date. This is not about indulgence, it's about invitation. The tryptophan in the date encourages melatonin production, while its magnesium and potassium calm both your nervous system and optic nerve. It is the gentle push your body needs to slip into deep, healing sleep. Many of my patients like to pair this ritual with a warm cup of herbal tea, something calming like chamomile or fennel. The tea is inessential, but the act of sipping slowly, without rush, creates a sense of closure to the day. It signals to the mind that it's time to let go. This ritual does not promise instant miracles. What it offers is something far more reliable, a foundation. Over weeks and months, your body begins to expect this steady nourishment. Morning by morning, you may find yourself reading more clearly, recalling names more easily, and feeling less strain behind your eyes. These are the quiet rewards of consistency, the kind of rewards that give independence and joy back, one night at a time. If you've stayed with me until now, I want you to carry one truth in your heart. It is never too late. Your eyes and your memory are not fixed in decline. They can still respond, still heal, still surprise you with their strength. Healing doesn't come from miracle pills. It comes from small, consistent habits that tell your body, night after night, I'm ready to be restored. So let your figs, raisins, and dates be a nightly signal of hope. You are not broken. You are still whole. I'm Dr. Brian. Sleep well, and I'll see you in the next.